Thank you very much. My name is Troy Dawson. For those who are wondering, this is the CentOS Stream 10 background. So I've had a couple people ask, what is that? That is the CentOS Stream background. That is not part of my slides. Anyway, as Sean said, I'm part of the CentOS Stream and Emerging RHEL team. I'm giving this talk on behalf of Adam Samalik. He originally proposed it and all that, and he told me he's watching. Adam, you should be watching out here. But he also told me he was going to try and help me with my slides while I was giving them. So we'll see what happens when he does that. I hope he's remoted in good enough. Here we go. It all starts with Fedora. And what is Fedora? As Adam says, Fedora is a blue box. No, that's not really what it is. It's got lots of things. Oh, there he is. Adam's in there. Fedora does lots of things. It's got servers, it's got IoT, it's got game things and stuff. But we're not here to talk about Fedora. Okay, Fedora every 3 years becomes RHEL. And in the past, that was like behind closed doors and we couldn't talk about it. There was the famous rocket with the infinity symbol on it. And that wasn't good. That wasn't good. And then we decided to do it in the open. That was with RHEL 9, CentOS Stream 9 days. And Fedora, when it became CentOS Stream, became RHEL. But we also don't want to talk about RHEL either. So what is CentOS Stream? CentOS Stream is a Linux OS maintained by RHEL engineers. That's an interesting thing. Oh, yeah, we are going to talk about Fedora. Fedora gets branched every 6 months. 37, 38, 39, 40. We're almost to the 42. And as Fedora gets built, these ELN packages happen, and an ELN distribution happens. ELN is basically Fedora Rawhide packages with the RHEL flags and triggers and all that stuff happening in them. And as we said before, every 3 years or so, we branch it off, we get CentOS Stream, and that turns into RHEL 10. Let's look into this a little bit more. So ELN, we're going to look at the CentOS Stream 10 thing. I'm going to look at the slides, whichever way you think I'm looking. We start with ELN, CentOS Stream 10, and when we branch CentOS Stream, we got this bootstrap phase where everything's going. We keep things in sync with Fedora, and that's sort of so we can get everything set up. We can get the initial things, a few mass rebuilds in there, and then we cut it off. And ELN becomes CentOS Stream 11. And we then proceed this pre-release phase. The maintainers say, no, we don't want that. We do want this. Oh, this package should look this way and thus forth. And then, well, let's see, where are we now? We're here. So at some point, CentOS Stream gets released. And with 10, that happened in December. So we were all excited about that. Apple 10 got released. Sorry if I'm stealing your thunder, Carl. But Apple 10 got released at the same time as CentOS Stream 10. At the same time that the CentOS website got updated, it was a grand release. It was wonderful, and nobody noticed probably. So, there we go. And we still are maintaining CentOS Stream 9, and CentOS Stream 9 is continuing to make RHEL 9. So how does this workflow go? I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. So there's three main things. We got our sources, we got our builds, and we got our releases. The sources, CentOS Stream sources are always synced with RHEL. When something gets checked into CentOS Stream, it automatically gets synced over to RHEL. Our RHEL maintainers have been taught since CentOS Stream 9 and RHEL 9, CentOS Stream first. That's where your code goes. That's where your merge requests go. Builds, are sort of coupled. Adam trademarked that phrase, sort of coupled. And then releases are not coupled at all. Sorry. Yeah, Jira. Sorry about that. Issues.redhat.com, that's where the Jira tickets are. We'll just call them issues. Let's just leave that word out. Issues. But this is where you can talk to the maintainers. Can open up a bug, an issue, and tell the maintainer, hey, I want this or that. But anyway, so everything begins there. It's, the European elevators start with 0. So does this. But we really want to talk about the sources. When the source gets checked in, this is sort of what happens there. We get a merge request, and the merge request goes through testing to make sure it's a sane merge request. I'm not saying that outside people do insane things, but sometimes even the RHEL maintainers. Anyway, tests are good. When they get merged, they immediately get merged over to the RHEL dискit and RHEL source. This is sort of what it looks like. This is a systemd merge request, 5 days old. So here's where the testing happened. Those are all Zool. They're currently being tested by Zool. And so if we look at changes, we see this resolves RHEL blah, 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 the RHEL issue number. If we look at that, there we go. We have a RHEL issue number. This was done by Pat. Sorry, Pat, I can never pronounce your last name. This is Patrick. And he said, hey, yeah, you guys can pronounce his name. And anyway, but he issued this thing. The RHEL maintainer says, yes, this was good. He made that merge request. And in it goes, and there's our merge request, and it goes into this. We're using GitLab now, in case people don't know. We're using GitLab. It goes into the systemd. There's the files. So if you look at the files, we see we got our spec file there. The sources up there, been asked about sources. Is that really the sources? And it's like Fedora's sources. No, that's not a source. That's really a hashtag that says where to get the source. So how do you get the source? Yeah, sorry, Adam. This just isn't going to work. I'm just going to fast forward through this. Do you guys, people have seen this before. Adam's trying to type on this screen. It's just not going to work, Adam. Sorry. Go, keep going. What he's really trying to show you is how to use cent package to get the sources. You can use cent package to get the source RPM. It didn't turn out very well. How many? There we go. There we go. Okay, it exploded this time. He didn't get it to explode last time. Anyway, there's ways to get the sources, and I'm not going to show it to you, but use cent package. You can use it in the container, the Fedora container, cent package source RPM. Okay, builds. We've looked at our sources. We're going to look at the builds. Builds are sort of coupled. What does that mean? When a build starts, when the maintainer kicks off a build, unfortunately, if you guys are not RHEL maintainers, you cannot kick off a build. But when they do kick one off, if it builds, it kicks off a RHEL build. And both of them go through gating. And they get this gating tag. Actually, before they go through gating, they get a gating tag. Tags are Koji-based things that tag packages, and it helps you helps you keep track of the builds and packages. So they get a gating tag. They go to gating. If they pass the gating tag, they go to candidate tag. They get a candidate tag, and that's special. And then the CentOS people, they don't do anything, but the RHEL maintainer can look at it and go, yeah, I do really want this build in my release, and it puts it on a RADA. Those of you who follow RHEL packages very much, you know what RADAs are. Otherwise, I'm not going to explain it because it's not a CentOS stream thing. So anyway, they get the RADA, they both get this pending tag, and then they go on their merry way. And this is sort of what it looks like. This is the CentOS stream build things. Here we see we've got Firefox built here, and Firefox has this tag C10S gate, C10S candidate, and at some point the maintainer says, yes, Firefox is really going to be in CentOS Stream 10, and he marked it CentOS Stream pending. And those of you who are in the know might think this is a little strange. So yes, I am going to officially announce Firefox is in CentOS Stream 10. So some people were asking me, what are you going to talk about? I was like, I'm not going to tell you. That was one of them. Okay, Firefox is in CentOS Stream 10 as of 2 weeks ago. It was in last week's release, and we'll see more about that little tidbit. Okay, what happens at the release? There's composes, there's testing. Yeah, Adam's back on. Okay, what's in composes? What composes have reposted? Adam, you know there's a slide like 2 things down that tells all this. You don't have to tell me that. We have composes, and then those composes get tested, and then if they pass the tests, they get released to the mirrors and stuff. But let's talk about tags. We already saw the gate, candidate, and pending tag. If you were observant on that other slide, you might have seen another one. Let's guess what they are. Pending dash signed. Yeah, it's signed. It's now signed. There's another one that you actually won't ever see because it's just in definitions. It's composes. It's basically the latest pending release. And everything from, when we make composes, we make 2 composes. We make a development compose off of candidate that allows maintainers to test things off of that. But you guys are probably more interested in the production compose because the production compose then gets tested. And if it gets tested once a week, we push it to production. So what does that compose look like? Okay, I told you it was going to be in here. We got RPM repos, the main ones, of course, base OS and app stream. We also got CRB. I'm not going to tell you what that stands for. Make it up. But then we got these little smaller ones that most people don't use, but they're still there. High availability, lots of acronyms. And then we have images. DVD ISO, that's a big 8 to 10 gig big thing. And net install containers, AWS, all sorts of fun stuff. And if that isn't enough, then there's more. There's an alternative images SIG. That's a cool SIG. I like that SIG. Great. Wait, we went backwards. Tell us more about the testing. Okay. Alan wants to talk about testing. Testing is currently being done by CentOS Integration SIG. That's a SIG again. I've noticed that twice in here. When we do a compose, they go in. Yes, it's being tested on Jenkins. CentOS Stream 9 is still being tested in the. I always have to look at this thing every time. It's still being tested in the same way that it was for 15 to 20 years when Johnny started this stuff. When CentOS started this stuff. Johnny didn't start CentOS, but he's been around. Anyway, so it's been around since that thing. CentOS Stream 10 is using the new format done by the SIG. It's called TMT. Others can explain it a lot better. We have green and we have a few red ones. So it's still being worked on, but we do have enough green ones to let us know when we got a good compose and when we got a bad compose. Here's the SIG page. explains all about what the SIG is, and here's the SIG page about their testing. And here is their GitHub, GitLab place where the composers are, and I wanted to especially thank out Carlos for doing this. He's done a vast majority of the work, if not all. I'll just say vast majority because I think a few others have helped him. Anyway, thank you, Carlos. And that brings us to SIGs. Oh, sorry. I heard an applause from the thing. So thank you, Carlos. And to be honest, doing testing and stuff is a thankless job, and we should thank them much more. But it also brings us to the SIGs, CentOS SIGs, Special Interest Groups. I'm sorry for using the acronym before saying what it was, but that's what CentOS SIGs is. CentOS Project. CentOS Project is a rectangle. It is not a square. It is a rectangle because it has lots of other things on top of it. There's CentOS Stream, but then there's all these SIGs, the hyperscale artwork, alternative images, cloud, automotive, I can't even see that, and several other SIGs. And the SIGs have two build systems. We got yeah, again, he knows that this is coming up, and he keeps hacking in here. CS Koji and CBS Koji. Guess what those stand for? Yeah, Adam knew this was coming. CentOS Stream Koji is read-only outside for Red Hat. That is where we build CentOS Stream. It's all public. You can see everything, but it is read-only outside of Red Hat. Whoops, sorry, wrong button. Community build system is where the SIGs build. They build packages, they build images, they build all sorts of stuff on the CBS. And it's a great place. And I'll talk about thankless jobs. There's this person in the audience that maintains those, and he is a wonderful person. So thank you, Fabian, for keeping those things going. So the CentOS SIGs, we have a governance page. We have things that talk about how to get them. They grow like a little tree, basically. Anyway, how to create a new one, how to retire the things, how to join your own. Yeah, okay. How to join? Let me. I'm going to stick on SIGs for just one more minute. I think my time is. You didn't actually start that. It's like my time is up. But how close am I? Well, anyway. Oh, 10 minutes. Oh, we're good. We're good. Joining the SIG is dependent on the SIG. Membership is dependent on the SIG, but most of them are fairly easy to join on the SIGs. Okay, for this audience, I'm going to talk about CentOS Stream contributions. Can you actually contribute to CentOS Stream? So this is all the SIGs and stuff, but we're going to concentrate on the CentOS Stream part for this. So the answer is yes, with a big caveat here. CentOS Stream source is RHEL source. RHEL is a product of a company, an enterprise-based product of a company, and there's things that they want to keep stable. They have this application compatibility guide. That's a fun app thing. There's documentation on the applications compatibility guide. There's lots of stuff. It says things like API, ABIs, all sorts of things. Compatibility level 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a in-depth thing. Pat also has given a talk on this one, and if you really want to know more about it, in short, don't break things. That is what Red Hat has promised their customers, is to not break things with the API compatibility thing. There's another thing you have to think about, and that's the Red Hat life cycle. Again, more pages. It's got lots of charts and tables and stuff, and more stuff. Extended life, maintenance life, and there's this. This looks nice. A nice little graph here. Let's zoom in on that. So every 6 months there's a release. So, and then you see that big long one that usually is end in 9.10. There's a big long thing that it stays there for a long time. That's when it's in maintenance release. CentOS Stream does not have these point releases. There's actually nothing to indicate when it branches off. That's for good or for bad. Those of us who use CentOS Stream long term, hey, it's actually sort of nifty that I don't have to worry about my stuff doing a point release. Anyway, the Red Hat Enterprise Linux lifecycle is also something you have to consider when trying to get things into CentOS Stream /RHEL. But it is possible, and it all starts with 0, the JIRA ticket. Oh no. But talk to the maintainer first. That's really a good thing. The second thing is do a merge request. That isn't always what the maintainer wants, but sometimes it helps. And the third thing is it's the maintainer that decides whether something goes in or not. That's their job, and they're doing things. So what sort of things can go in? Bug fixes. If you have a bug, it doesn't break API compatibility to get fixed. Go ahead, tell the maintainer there's a bug. If you have a fix for the bug, go ahead, do the thing with the word we will not mention. What other things? Stable updates from upstream. This is an interesting thing because what is the word stable? Well, first off, it can't break those API compatibility things. If it does, it is not considered stable. I'm going to leave that to your imagination. We could stay on that one for a long time. Backported features. Sometimes a feature gets up there, but it isn't ABI stable, but the feature can be backported. That's a lot of hard work, but you know, the maintainer might do that. If you help them out, that might help, but also know that things like this is going to take lots of testing, and sometimes things are going to not make it through all the testings. What doesn't do, anything that breaks an ABI compatibility, it's just not going to do. You're going to get a no. Docs, typos, man pages. Those are always really nice, but you probably don't know the amount of testing that's going on behind scenes. So if you're changing one word and it takes, 100 man hours to do that, it seems easy to you, but it's not so easy, and so that's why these have a question mark. Don't do them. So more disruptive updates can be done in Fedora, because after all, it all starts with Fedora. That's really the best place to get things into CentOS Stream, especially if you want a major change, is get it into Fedora. It'll make its way into RHEL. And here's the nice workflow. Yes, Adam. Okay. It's easier in Fedora. It's harder in, wait, what about, we'll talk about that. It's harder in RHEL. Sorry, he's a little impatient. Yeah, there's like, 20,000 source RPMs in Fedora and 2.5 thousand in things. EPEL. Carl has a good EPEL talk later on in this conference, so we're not going to talk about EPEL. Again, I really like this slide because it sums it all up. Fedora is a great place for getting the latest and greatest in, getting your changes in. It has a 6 months to a year release cycle. CentOS project, changing the actual CentOS Stream and RHEL is going to be harder, but the CentOS Stream SIGs, you can do a lot of things on top of it and manipulating it, and that's what they're for. CentOS Stream has it gets branched every 3 years. It has a 5-year-ish life cycle, And, oh, sorry, that's one thing I didn't know. If you're running RHEL, CentOS Stream is a great way to test and see what's coming down the pipe. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions? We do have a mic if we have questions.
The internet wants to know, since we got Firefox, will we get evolution in CentOS Stream?
No. We are getting, I'll have Thunderbird. Somebody double check. Thank you. We are getting Thunderbird, but it is only Firefox and Thunderbird.
The internet wants to grill you on what's in CentOS Stream 10, I think. Okay. Anything about the issue of DNF being slow?
DNF being slow. Depends on your definition of slow. CentOS Stream 10 does have DNF 4 by default. I have been told that maybe some other releases, the DNF 5 might become, but it will never be the default. DNF 4 is going to be the default for the entire release. So if that's what people are asking, the answer is yes, it's going to still be slow. We got one on the pillar so you can't see him.
Oh, yes. Hey, thanks for the presentation. Do you have a strategy about remote desktop with Wayland for customers that need remote desktop? Is there some plan for that?
Remote desktop with Wayland. So for KDE, yes, I have a strategy. Other desktops, I don't know. That's what Apple and that's what SIGs are for. Michelle, wait, did I get your name right?
Thank you. To the person who was asking if you can get evolution in Apple, I'm in EL10. It might be doable in Apple, so I might try doing that in the future.
Yeah, that is true. Apple is a great place to put those packages because there's going to be several packages that are missing and people are going to miss. And Apple's a great place. You know, I had to do it for KDE. Now the GNOME people get to step up. Sorry, that sounded rude, didn't it? But the thing is still true. There's always things missing in RHEL. If you really want it, and some of you, geez, look around this crowd. I can't see anybody who isn't a Fedora maintainer. Bring it over to Apple. That's the place for it. Yeah.
More questions?
All right.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you.